Okay, it is my distinct pleasure this afternoon for me, crack of dawn for you,
That's
um,
right.
to be sitting down with Blaire Hawes, who is a photographer based in Texas.
Phoenix. No,
Phoenix.
Phoenix,
Phoenix. I knew that.
Arizona.
In Arizona. And I have just very recently had the pleasure of getting to know. Um, and you take some of the most, they're intimate, beautiful portraits that have really like burrowed into my heart and the rest of the Contribute.to team's heart. We are
Thank you.
all so thrilled and honored to be working with you.
Oh my God,
And we
thank you.
just wanted to sit down with you today to just sort of chat and get to know you and understand a little bit about why photography is so important to you. So
Okay.
maybe you could begin, Blaire, by please just telling us about sort of how you came to start taking pictures.
Yeah. So I started taking, well, before I started taking photographs, I went to school to become a ballerina. So that was what I always wanted to be. There was no like plan B for me. That's just what I wanted to do. And then when I was 18 and I was in New York, I got injured and like my heart kind of died. So after I had children, my second child, I ended up being on bed rest. And I wanted to take pictures of my kids and I wanted someone to do that, but I joke that like I'm not Kim Kardashian, so I couldn't have someone come to my house and just take pictures all the time. So I had one of those really crappy like point and shoot cameras and I started to take photographs and it just made me so happy. Like just instantly I was like, oh, this is really neat. And my mom actually dropped the little point and shoot and the shutter broke. And I remember feeling that same feeling of when I stopped dancing, like, no, like I need that. I need it. And so I just started to do that like every day, all day when I was just laying there trying to make a person. I just did it. And then as the years progressed, it just sort of had a friend out me pretty much and say, oh, by the way, she's taking pictures now. You need to hire her. And that's how that happened. I mean, honestly, that's how that happened. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing that. And I really didn't think I was good enough or that it was something that I could do. But clearly there was another plan. So that's how that started. And it's been, let's see, my kid is 9, so almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so completely self-taught then.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
And
study people.
well, so that is a perfect segue because like I said at the start, all of your compositions are these like they're studies in personality, in
Yeah.
structure, in form. And so it's interesting. I didn't know until just now that you were a dancer
Yeah.
because you do this like really close crop, right?
Yeah.
They're studies of form. Um, when when you're sort of setting out to take a portrait or an image,
Yeah.
are you thinking about the person or are you thinking about sort of what you see? It's a really hard question, but
No. So a really core part of my work is that I work with people of neurological differences. So I am sometimes given only 5 minutes because I'm respectful of them. So I try really hard to focus. Like I clear everything out and I just focus on that human being in those moments. And I don't ask them to do anything. I don't think that's right. So I just sort of let people live as they are. And then I just know, like people joke that like I just stop hitting that shutter because I know that I have it. My daughter only allows me to shoot 6 frames. She counts the shutter. So when I get to that 6th frame, I have to turn it off or we have a meltdown. So yeah, I'm just focused on the human being in front of me. And then when I get it, I get it. And it's usually pretty fast. And then I'm done. And then I go make dinner.
and then you go do all the other things you have to do
Yeah.
as a mom.
Yeah.
But that sounds it sounds really similar to, there's a photographer who I used to work with who always said that shooting for him was like meditation.
Yeah.
Like the noise
Yep.
goes away, right?
Yep.
No one interrupts you, and there's
Nope.
this moment of clarity,
Yep.
which is honestly, I understand it because it's how I feel when I'm interviewing people, because I
Oh,
know that like, nothing that's happening out there
yeah. Mhm.
is is part of this conversation, right? And so all the noise does go away for me.
Yeah.
What can you imagine, or would it be the same for you if you weren't shooting people? If you were just
Um,
doing a landscape or a house or a
so I do photograph horses. Um, they're great teachers because, first of all, they're scared of the camera usually. So you have to learn to be like calm and quiet and sort of really be, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but you have to really know what you have to be kind to that animal. Um, so it's the same with a horse. I look in their eyes, and when I know that I have that photograph, I'm done. But I really like people. So other than horses, I don't shoot it. It just doesn't call to me, I guess.
Mm.
Um, sometimes I'll shoot. We have really beautiful sunsets in Arizona. They're like crazy here, so I'll shoot that. But it's the same thing. Like I just kind of like fall into it as I'm like seeing it, and then once I like am in the middle of it and I have the image, then I have the image, and I don't edit very much. So other than the crop and a few tweaks, that's it. Because I like people to be like, oh, I was there. I can see that. I understand that feeling, or I understand that moment, or I understand that horse in that moment. Does that sound
I
weird?
mean, so like, let's get this straight. You you do this in 6 shots
Usually,
and you don't really hyper edit. I
no,
mean, you blow my mind. Every time we talk, I'm like, this woman, you are just
no.
exceptional. It's so
Thank you.
cool.
Thanks.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, so I didn't ask you this when we spoke the other day, but I would love to know, how did you hear about Contribute.to?
Okay, so I think it was through Nick Knight. I think I saw him post something about it. I'm pretty sure that's how that happened. And then the algorithm, I think, but I'm pretty sure it was Nick Knight. And then I followed you because I thought it was a cool thing, but I didn't really understand what it was. Um, and then I saw the post of, and I forgive me, I do not know the artist's name. It was the one with the yellow lines where he wants to create, or she wants to create, an actual living thing. And I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. So that's, and then Brittany reached out to me. So it just, I think it was like, I mean, like domino effect almost. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Nick Knight.
Are there other photographers who have an influence on you, or that you reference or you look to? I mean, obviously
Um,
Nick, but
yeah. Sally Mann. She speaks to me deeply on her photographs of her children. I understand her. I understand what she was trying to do. I think her photographs are just, that bloody nose photograph of her child is my favorite photograph ever taken. Um, I have a friend and also she's no one, but I just love her work. Her name's Lauren Hare, and she shoots large scale film, and it's just breathtakingly beautiful. Um, and Tim Walker, like he's just magical. It's like living inside my head. It's like light and a dream, and just being able to make that for your life is just wonderful. But so if you could just sort of like smash all of those together, like those are the people. But truly, Sally Mann she just, as a mother, I totally get it. I totally get it. So she resonates deeply with me.
well, let's talk a little bit about that, because I've seen a few pictures that you've taken that are of children. I
Yeah,
presume they are your
they are
children.
mine. Yes.
Um, and there's this amazing shot of a young-ish, I think she's a girl, with this goggle
Oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
filled up with charms, right?
No, they're those little, you know, when you were a kid and they had those smelly erasers that you would get in like, okay, so we went on an Easter egg hunt and they had them filled at thousands of them. And I'm like, what are we going to do with these? So what are we going to do with them? And it's my daughter, Kennedy, and I build things. So she had the goggles on and I was like, let's shove these in the goggles. And she's like, okay. And she did it. So yeah, it was fun. I love doing that with my kids. It's so fun. It's so fun.
And you include them in many of the shoots that you do, right?
Yeah. Most of my images that are on my Instagram feed are of my children. They approve what I post. They make sure that they like it. I pay them to do that. Yeah, I just feel like ethically that's the right thing to do. They're mine, and my husband's, but they give me approval to do it. But yeah, I try every single day. I read a lot, but I read somewhere in some article that you should take at least 5 photos a day on the same lens so you get to really know the lens. And I think it was Annie Leibovitz that said that, I'm pretty sure. And so every day I do. It doesn't matter. Like my kids I have a very weird house with weird light. So I have pockets of light. So when I get that like 10 minutes of like really good light, Kennedy, my middle, will just run to it and we'll just take, 5 or 6 images every day. Doesn't always work out, but that's how I teach myself. So, but yeah, it's always over.
Do you have like a sort of, well, first I want to ask you like the long-term picture plan and then the short term, but do you have like a goal or is there beside it, like it clearly is a ritual that makes you feel good, right? Everything that you've said, you've made that plain. But is there something that you want from your work or want your work to achieve, or?
Oh God, that's hard. This is going to sound weird, but I'm not driven by money. I never have been. So I'm not fame driven. I would like to leave something behind that's meaningful to people, that resonates with people. And some people want to win the lottery, right? And they want that life. If I could win the lottery of art, it would be to have one of my pieces hanging like in a museum. Like that would be, I would pass out. But that's it for me. So and to do that with people that maybe not necessarily would ever have that opportunity. So not with a supermodel. It's much easier to photograph somebody that does that all day, every day, and it's fun, but they know what they're doing. But I'm talking about with somebody that doesn't, that you just get a really beautiful, meaningful, lovely picture of that. That's why I think I love Sally Mann so much, where you walk by and you're just like, you have to stop and look at it. That for me is like the end goal, and to be able to pay them to do that for their time, even if it's $1 and a burrito and a pie, whatever they want. But yeah, that's for me that's it. To have my work hung in a museum would be, oh my God, just saying it out loud, Carrie, like it's so weird. Like it was like a hidden secret, like an artist secret. You don't want to ever like seem like you have an ego, or that you like think that ego is hard for me. So that would be it.
But in the brief conversations that we've had and in the middle of this one, it's so apparent to me that you, the desire to have the piece hanging, and you said it, it's like, I don't want a picture of a model hanging in a museum. No. It's this celebration of humanity.
Yes.
Of everything that entails, right? Yeah. Like not the norms that we have seen for so long.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But the variety.
Yeah.
And I think that is why I am so drawn to the images I've seen so far, is because they're not your standard, like perfectly framed, perfectly cropped shot.
Yeah.
They're slightly,
Wrong.
yeah, they
They're
are,
wrong.
right?
Yeah, they are. They're wrong. I know they are.
Well, but they're wrong according to the norms, right? And we
Yeah.
finally live in a place where we can say, well, hang on, I like who I don't need those. I want to be able to see things differently and through different lenses and different eyes and different perspectives. And I think that you give us that. Um, which then leads me to tell us a little bit about what what project are you trying to fund with Contribute to?
So I've had an idea for many, many years. I have a lot of diverse friends. I have a lot of mothers friends that have diverse children. And I have always thought, and not in like a Silence of the Lambs creepy way, like that skin suit thing, like, but just taking thousands of photographs of different people from all different backgrounds and somehow putting them together into a life-size person, however that came together, with some sort of light behind it. So it's like, like we're all like lit, like our souls are lit. This is so weird. And I would somehow put that together with my hands. Like, I don't know if I would hand sew it. Maybe I would glue it. I don't know. But I just see someone walking up to this and being like, oh, that's me. Like, there I am. And I'm next to this person that maybe I would never, especially in the way that the world is right now, that I would never have a conversation with. I would never sit down and talk to because they're complete opposite of who I am. Right. Or they believe something that's different than me, whatever. Obviously that's challenging and people are not always going to be open to those things, but I believe to my very core that in the end, we all rock the same. So let's just try really hard to like have those tough conversations. And maybe this piece would help do that. I don't know. Maybe that's ridiculous, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. But that's large scale. I'm thinking like the size of a man, like 6'2". And I'm going off like the height of my husband, but like 6'2", full body, anatomically correct, maybe.
I was gonna say like hands, feet,
But
the whole thing.
everything, the whole thing. Like hair, no hair. Maybe I would have like different color. I don't know how it would come together, but in my mind I can see it, that it's like the face of a person. It's a person, not a man, not a woman. It doesn't matter what you identify as. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter who you freaking voted for. Just a human being that we can all relate to. And I don't, like some people would consider that maybe spiritual. I don't know. But I just feel like there has to be a way that we all cannot be so mean to each other. And maybe that's through art. Art's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
mean.
I have spent the better part of 20 years saying art can change the world. Art can change the world.
Yeah,
Art
it
can
can.
change the world.
It
But
can.
I think it can. I truly, truly do. And I think a project like this, conceptually, you are bringing people together, but then actually physically, right? Say we do get it showing
Yeah.
somewhere, and all
Yeah.
these people get to come together or have to come together to see the
Yeah.
work physically, right? That begins something, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's wildly important. And I love, and I have been thinking about this the last couple of days, but I love that the way, you're a photographer, so there's a degree of distance in your work, right?
Yeah.
Because of having a machine making it. But I love
Yeah.
the idea that you would bring handedness to this in the way that, the great quilts of BG's Bend or old mosaics, that becomes this like
Yes.
ritual of making.
Yes.
And it's something that I see in you, that this like need to, it's like piecing back things together.
Yeah.
To make it better.
I just like to take things that are old and broken and like fix them. And I I always like laugh, like if I make it worse than what it was, well, then it was already broken, you know? So like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know, the worst thing in this situation is that maybe somebody that wouldn't have had a conversation with somebody else might have that. And I just, for my children and the way that the world is, I just want people to be nicer to each other. And maybe I can help do that for like 2 people. I don't know.
Hey, but
Where's-
one, there's, I always say to my kids, I'm like, Rosa Parks kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
One person changed the world. Like, it matters what you do. You can have an effect. And you have already had, it's ridiculous, right? You're tearing up. I'm going to start tearing up.
Yeah,
You've already had this like profound influence on me. We've never even met.
I know. I just want to like hug you through the screen.
But like, I'm supposed to be the professional here. I'm supposed to be playing it cool. I'm literally tearing up.
But you're a mom. Like you get it.
Yeah. Maybe I get it. I don't know. Anyway, it's super exciting. And, I love what I do, and I'm so thrilled to be part of Contribute.to, because I get to have conversations like this. But this one has really, like I said at the beginning, it's like burrowed into my soul, and I want it to work. And
thanks.
Yeah, I'm just
me too.
excited.
I want it to work.
And I want to see it. I want to see it in a museum someday. So.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna need to do some heavy lifting here, but I think we can do it.